So in the previous video, in part one, I showed you how you can generate a random number and then display it inside a text view. Now, the next step of what we want to do is we actually would like to actually display a dice number to let the user know that they generated dice one, generated dice two. Very, very simple to do. So I am going to show you how to do it. So first of all, what I would recommend you do is um, download 6 images from Google. You can name them whatever you like to name it. Usually naming it obviously short makes it easier for you. So you can download a dice that shows 1, 2, all the way up to 6. So that is what I've already done already. So once you've downloaded and saved your images into any folder, you can highlight them and copy all of them together. So in this case, I have downloaded all my images and I'm going to just click on to add your image. I'm going to save it inside this drawable folder. What I'm going to do is going to right click on the drawable folder. I'm going to click on new. How do you get the drawable folder? Well, in our resource folder, inside of there, we have drawables. I'm going to click on there. I'm just going to click on the drawable folder and I'm going to click on new. And then I'm going to actually, because I'm just going to paste it, I'm just going to click on paste. And then it's going to give me the option, choose the first one. Don't choose the second one, just choose the first one. Resource drawable. I'm just going to click on OK. And then it's going to tell me with the folder that I'm going to put it inside. I'm just going to click OK. And then it's going to paste all my images here. You can see D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6. I named these names to make it easier for myself. And then what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my activity main.xml. And then in the design, to display an image, we are going to use an image view. Okay. So I'm going to drag an image view onto the screen. Once I click on an image view, it's going to ask me to select some image to make it appear. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose, you will see your images display here. Ideally, I copied and pasted, I pasted my images first so that I could select one of them. But if you don't obviously put your image there, you're going to have to select any of these sample images for you. But for me, I'm just going to select one and I'm going to click OK. And then you see that it has displayed my image. This is like the default image it's going to display on the screen when it's like loaded in a sense. Inside my code, I'm just it's already given it like a D1 thing here. You can see that that's the default kind of like image is going to show up in a sense. What I'm going to do in my Android ID here is I'm just going to call this maybe image. I'm going to just call it image for now. You can name the dice image, image dice, or whatever you're feeling to call it is completely up to you. I'm just going to call mine image. And then that will be my X activity main.xml finished. That's completely done. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside my main activity.kt. Inside my main activity.kt, I am going to, this is not 22. I'm just going to go onto var random number equals random.extend 1 until obviously 6. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, before I even go into my set on click listener, I'm just going to I'm just going to find a reference to that image view that I just created. So val image, what was it? Image view equals find view by ID r.id.image. I'm using this convention now just to make it easier for every single person, but I think that you are completely okay to use whatever you like to use. It's telling me that the ID is not correct. Like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and see if I can make the project again. Sometimes it could be that it's late to start. Sorry, image. There we go. So sometimes your XML is catching up to your activity main. So you just have to give it a bit of a few seconds or sometimes a minute, or you can just build the project again. So now that I've got my val image view equals find view by ID r.id.image, I have a reference to that image view in the XML. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Kotlin when is similar to using switch statements where you can put switch case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what I already have is I already have a random number, and I'm just going to use the when expression. So I'm just going to type this in. I'm just going to do when. The when kind of helps you to be, it's much easier than writing if and else statements. Okay. So example, what I'm going to do here is val, I'm going to store that when inside a variable. So val, let's just say selected, for example, equals when, we're going to use the when, and the when kind of takes in an integer. Our when is going to take an integer, it's because it's expecting an expression, so it's going to take an integer, and that integer that we're going to pass in is going to be our random number. So we're going to pass in our random number because random number, and then open and curly brace. And the when keyword is going to expect you to have something they call branches. So for example, let's say you pass in a number 7, it's going to look for number 7, and then it's going to expect what the outcome is going to tell you. You can add the result to it. So in my case, I'm going to put 1 followed by that this dash here, or hyphen, you may call it, and then the greater than sign, and then now it's telling you the kind of how do I say this? The results of what you want to happen. So each branch starts with a value where you have to specify whether 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if it hits 6, then it's going to tell you what result you want to display. So in our case, if it's 1, I am actually going to write this R, right? Because remember that everything that we have reference to starts with the R. That's why we've been using r.layout.activity main, r.id. Image. So in this case, because we're dealing with a resource draw in the drawable folder, we're going to have reference to the drawable folder. So I'm going to do r.drawable dot, and I'm going to look for D1. So I'm saying that if the number that I put inside is going to be a 1, I want you to do this. This is the result of what I want back. So I'm going to do 2. I'm going to do r dot again dot drawable dot D2. And then I'm going to do 3. Then again, I'm going to do r dot drawable dot D3. So it depends on whatever you named your image as. R dot drawable dot D4, 5, r dot drawable dot D5, and then the last one, because the when keyword expects an else statement, we're going to make the last one be the else, because if it doesn't fall between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it definitely has to be a 6, because we're generating our number between 1 and, well, until 7, so between 1 and 6. So I'm just going to put the else, and then I'm just going to pass in r dot drawable dot D6. So what this is going to do is it's going to return me the result of this when that we're using here. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to now set my image to the result that is going to return me. So it's like a return type, basic. It's a return basically in a sense. So I'm just going to put image dot set image resource, and then I'm just going to pass in selected in this case. Okay. So what we've basically done is we have used a when, and then we're saying that instead of we're using the when because we can also use if and else statements. So we can say if random number equals to obviously one, or you know, set the result to this equals set the result to two, set a when makes it shorter for you in terms of like a switch statements. So what we have here is whatever number we enter here is gonna go in here. Okay, is it a one? Return this. Is it a two? Return this. Is it a three? Return this. Is it a four? Return this. Is it a five? Return this. Else, return this. So in that case, we already know what number is going to be. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set our image. We're going to say image dot set image resource. Now remember, that is a function or method that comes along with the image view. So all we're doing is setting the image resource to the selected, and our selected image resource is going to be r.drawable. So it's in a sense, what we're doing is we're replacing, think of it this way, right? Instead of doing passing in every single one, this is how the selected is going to look. r.id, oh, sorry, r.resource, sorry, drawable d6. So that's how it's supposed to look like. But what we're doing is we're using the random number to help us to generate which drawable we want to actually set the image resource to. So that's why we're using the when. So I'm just going to click on selected again, and then that is basically our code. Okay. So what we can do here now is we can just restart our application, hopefully. I'm going to restart application. I had one already running. Okay, let's retry it. There we go. So by default, it's giving us this image here. If I click on it, number 4, it generates a dice of number 4, generates a dice number of 3, generates a dice number of 2. And that is how we deal with images and using images. So what I've basically taught you in these two sessions or two videos is number 1, how to generate random number and display onto the screen. Number 2 is how to use images. And all we've done is we've just set an image, a set, we've used an image view and we're setting it to an image, but in this case, we're making it random in that sense. So from this, you're able to know how to set images and to also generate random numbers and display onto the screen. Hope this tutorial is helps you with whatever project you're working on.